What's up, guys? This is the death of becoming vegan, what lifelong vegans know that you don't. So, let's get right into this. When I say the word vegan, most people think if you're a vegan, you're basically a hippie. People say a lot of things about vegans. Good, not so good, nice, not so nice. People are curious. Where do you get your protein from? So you must have to eat a ton of nuts. Do you eat fish? What do you do on Thanksgiving? I could never give up cheese. Seems unrealistic. Is it because of the animals or something else? Humans were made to eat meat. I don't want to become weak. Sounds expensive. What if someone serves you meat? Hippy dippy, tree hugger, un-American, is bred vegan. You still eat fish, right? What about the fish? And it goes on and on. Now, when you wade through all of it, it's really three big things that stop people from going vegan. I call these the vegan busters, and these things are brutal and keep people from becoming vegan every day. Here they are. And you've probably seen these before. Number 1, thinking you won't get enough protein. Number 2, thinking giving up meat and cheese is just not worth it. Number 3, thinking it's too hard or unrealistic to be a vegan. 1 year ago, I thought all three were true. There's a story I want to tell to you about my life before I went vegan, and it's called Lunch with a Vegan. It went like this. So this is me at a restaurant, and I ordered bacon mac and cheese for lunch. So my then girlfriend was sitting across from me. She was a vegan and still is today. That's a veggie burger. And when my plate arrived, she took a look at what I ordered and said 750 calories. Easy. And I remember I just looked at her smiling like I was in this picture. And there were about 3 things I said to her, and none of them were good. And I knew it. Number 1, denial. It's actually not 750 calories. I looked at the bacon mac and cheese, then at her, said it was a lot less than 750 calories, and sat there with the feeling of knowing I was wrong. It gets worse. Number 2, lying. I didn't eat breakfast today. I had eaten breakfast that day. Then I did the worst thing of all. I lied to myself. I call this one wishful thinking. Number 3, I'm going to save some for dinner. I didn't save any for dinner. So that was my habit during meal times, and honestly, that stuff usually got me out of most situations where I ate too much. At least it worked enough for me to feel good about continuing to overeat all the time. I didn't have any major problems with my health. I wasn't fat, but I didn't look like I used to. So that's a picture of me. And, I didn't really fit into that shirt like I used to. So after a few weeks from that lunch, I had a bit of a wake-up call. I had been looking back through my Facebook photos, and I saw this photo of me in college. There it is. And I realized I was never going to look like that again. I mean, look at the difference. It's not huge, but for me, it was big. And as long as I stayed on the path I was on, the thing is I used to exercise a lot, so I ate a ton. And when I got older, my eating habits stayed the same, but I didn't have as much time to exercise. I kept eating 3,000 calories a day. I would eat an entire bag of chips in one sitting, even though I knew I was too old to do that anymore. My friends did the same thing, so I thought it was normal. I wish I could have started working on my diet before I started gaining weight. That one photo brought me back my desire to be healthy again. There's the photo. I wanted to feel like I was young again, even though I was getting older. My girlfriend had been eating vegan for 2 years, and she was always in shape. So on my 26th birthday, I decided to go vegan myself. No meat, no cheese, no milk, no eggs, no yogurt. You're probably thinking, how long did you last? And the answer might surprise you. I never went back. I haven't eaten meat or cheese since the day I started. How? I've had plenty of opportunities to eat meat and cheese since then. Why didn't I go back? And why am I talking so much about this pivotal moment? What does this day I went vegan have to do with you and your health? Well, this is the moment that gets people. I try something once, it doesn't work out like I thought it would, so I quit. But the problem is the next time I try, it's harder. The next time I have the excuse of saying I tried it and it didn't work. Not I didn't make it work, it didn't work. And when I went vegan, everything started working out for me, and I made it work. I've quit a lot of things, like lifting weights regularly, as you can see in these photos, but the plant-based diet did work for me. And while I'd love to tell you it was a walk in the park, if you've ever tried it before, you know it's no walk in the park. When I first started, it felt like something I could accomplish with a single decision, but that was a fantasy. I hadn't yet faced the reality. The reality is it honestly has taken 100 mini decisions every day. Even my vegan girlfriend was surprised I was sticking with it. I went and read the books. I watched the documentaries. I listened to podcasts. And only after immersing myself in this world did I realize that the reality of it was nothing like the stereotype. All this stuff, that wasn't what being vegan was about. It turns out when you really want to find out the truth about something, it's staring you in the face. Remember I said I would show you the 3 big things that stop people from starting and staying vegan? Let's bust these 3 main vegan busters together right now, once and for all. Number 1, thinking you won't get enough protein. This one is actually true. I mean, you won't get enough protein. That's if you're trying to hit the protein target you learned about from the protein guys in the gym. Have you heard bodybuilders saying it takes 50 to 150 grams of protein a day to be strong? I was told I should match my body weight in protein. So at 190 pounds, I need 190 grams of protein a day. It's absolutely mad. The truth is, and you're not going to believe it when you hear it, you only need 2.5 to 3% of your calories to come from protein. So what that means, and this is going to change everything for you, is if you only eat the lowest protein foods in the plant world, which would be things like rice, you're at 8 or 9% protein, more than double what you need. So going vegan is not going to make you protein deficient. And I'm sorry to be the one to tell you that the protein myth is the biggest myth of them all, and a way for the protein bar industry to make a heck of a lot of money, when in reality you can get plenty of protein and never eat a single nut. So the only supplement you need is called B12, and I tell you this because I didn't know about it or take it for about 2 months when I became vegan, and if you take nothing away from knowing me but this, you don't need more protein, unless you're trying to go to the Olympics. You just need B12. So let's talk about number 2. This is going to be a huge one. Number 2, thinking giving up meat and cheese is just not worth it. One of the hardest things to give up is dairy. For me, it was the absolute hardest thing. Seriously, but there was one day where I saw things differently. It was a normal day. I had been counting my calories. One of the first things I did, actually, when I was trying to lose weight was count my calories and make sure I didn't break 2,000. It was kind of fun at first, like a game where you're playing against yourself from yesterday. But after a week of thinking about food as a numbers game, the fun wears off. It's a chore, and it starts to feel like you're always in calorie jail. So although there are tons of health benefits from giving up meat and dairy, the real best part about giving up meat and dairy is when I stopped eating meat and dairy, I stopped needing to count calories. I said, if it's vegan, I can eat it. And for someone who was counting their calories consistently, that first day I stopped counting was a feeling of pure freedom. It was bliss. And it felt like I could eat anything I wanted. When you start to weigh meat and dairy against counting calories is so bad. It's no comparison. Meat and dairy are out. And not to mention, you get to use the biggest vegan hack of them all. And this one hack is the answer to the biggest question that a lot of people have. It's a reasonable enough question. And I know some of you outside the US might not do it, but I know that you understand. How do you overcome peer pressure and say no to turkey on Thanksgiving? And the answer is surprisingly simple. And you'll want to remember this one because you're going to be saying it a lot. And at first, you're going to think the simple answer is too basic to possibly be helpful. But if you work up the courage to say it, you just made your meals a lot easier. Because it is without a doubt the biggest and simplest hack of them all. You just say, I'm vegan. I know it sounds way too simple to even be helpful, but being simple doesn't make something easy. And all the times I try to avoid it, I always regret when I don't say it sooner around new people at mealtimes. With I'm vegan, you unlock a free pass to say no to meat and dairy every single time you're offered it. You're the vegan. When you say no to food, no one thinks you're impolite. When you say no to food, no one thinks you don't like their cooking. Those two words, I'm vegan, give you permission to be healthy in moments of peer pressure. Being social doesn't have to mean unhealthy. So now let's look at the last vegan buster. I'm almost positive you said one of these words if you've talked about going vegan. I did. And number 3 is thinking it's too hard or unrealistic to be a vegan. The truth is that it is hard to become a vegan. Change is hard. I mean, think about your life right now. Life is good, right? Vegan is this new thing you have to identify with. It's this whole new set of habits to adopt. If you're not used to standing up to your family and friends about a unique belief you have one now. But you have to remember that the things that matter get simpler when you're vegan. Think about shopping for food. Why is going to the grocery store simpler for vegans? Well, there's one final hack I want to share that makes being vegan seem super simple. I call this one the plant-based hack. Anytime you're looking for vegan food in your head, you replace it with plant-based. Suddenly the whole store starts to look like a store for vegans, especially the fruit and vegetables section. Truth be told, there's actually always a lot more vegan food in most grocery stores than non-vegan food. It's actually tons more when you think of all the grain-based food like bread. Not that you should eat a ton of bread, but it's not so bad. And so if you're going to go vegan, if it seems hard or unrealistic, don't think about looking for foods that say they're, quote, vegan. Ask yourself, does everything on this plate come from a plant? And with the 3 myths busted, I'll be perfectly honest with you now and speak as someone who did it and has never come back. If I can do it, you can definitely do it. I want you to look at me and say, if this random 28-year-old guy can go vegan, it cannot be that hard. Maybe you're watching this and thinking, Sam sounds a little bit unsophisticated about nutrition, a little bit on the dumb side, to be honest. And if you were thinking this, I understand. If I can do it, you can definitely do it. Thanks. Take care, guys.